Now, a shocker from Uttar Pradesh where a woman delivered on the floor of a district hospital in full public view. The video shows the indignity and humiliation suffered by the woman as you can see people passing by just looking on. And what led to this was that the doctor on duty at the labor room allegedly turned her away and her family, saying that there was no bed available, and therefore you saw the situation in which the poor woman, who could barely walk just a few feet away, actually delivered in the corridor on the hospital floor. Now a probe has been ordered into this entire incident.
अधिकारियों की टीम गठित कर दी गई है और इसमें यथाशीघ्र रिपोर्ट मांगी गई है। इसमें जो भी दोषी कर्मचारी होगा या जो भी घटना की सत्यता होगी या असत्यता होगी, जिस भी तरह की स्थिति होगी, तो उसमें अगर कोई लापरवाही दिखाई दी तो उस पर कार्रवाई की जाएगी।
अभी ये प्रकरण आप लोगों के द्वारा संज्ञान में लाया गया, लेकिन इस तरह की ये घटना जो है दुखद घटना है और इस पर प्रभावी कार्रवाई की जाएगी। वहाँ पे पूरी जांच करा के और जो दोषी होंगे उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई।
All right, well, let's go across to Alok Pandey for more. And Alok, you know, these are the responses we see every time. An inquiry has been ordered, a probe has been ordered, we'll take action. But just the fact that this poor woman had to go through this, and this is what happens in, the smaller towns and villages across the country, the state of the medical care in these places, that the doctor could actually turn this poor woman away and she was forced to deliver on the floor.
No, absolutely, Gaji. And I think you and I have spent years and years now covering issues like this. And what shocks us even more is that when things seem to improve in terms of neonatal mortality, which is the mortality of children at birth, or maternal mortality, the mortality of birth-giving mothers, things do seem to improve. But every time there is an incident like this, you are reminded of why much more needs to be done. Not only to create more infrastructure, but to also sensitize doctors and other staff at these government hospitals, I mean, there could have been a case, as there are some suggestions, that there was no bed available to admit the woman post her delivery. But that is not an excuse to turn her away from a labor room. I mean, she has a right to give a birth in a safe environment. That's number one. And to give a birth in an environment where she does not have to face indignity and humiliation. In this case, all of this seems to have happened with this woman. And you can see those visuals. I mean, they tell their own story. This is a woman who's delivering a baby on a hospital floor, and she's surrounded by not only women but also men. This not only exposes the mother to a lot of health risks, but also the baby to many, many health complications. This is something that nobody wants. But this has happened. You are right in pointing out that the government has come up with a standard response to the CMO just for our information. Before he gave that soundbite, he was actually trying to escape the room when journalists went there. And he was refusing to talk, and he said, "Camera band karo, camera band karo." And then finally, our reporters did manage to get a reaction from him. I mean, calling it a dukhad ghatna, which is a sad incident, doesn't cut it. There has to be more action, or at least sensitization of the people who work at these hospitals to not do this to anyone, so that people are not exposed, and women, pregnant women especially, are not exposed to such unhygienic conditions when they give birth. And these goals that the government keeps on telling us about improving maternal mortality, neonatal mortality, etc., they are actually implemented on the ground rather than just lip service.